my loyal blade and champion of the festival. Both your deeds will ever be praised in song. Now, the vow will be honored, and my lord brother's soul will return.
I have done it. Yesterday, at 1:11 p.m., I beat Promised Consort Radon on the hardest possible version. No summons, no status effects, only him and I in a brutal one-on-one. I played on the 1.21.1 version of Elden Ring, where there were no buffs to the Erdtree fragments, and there were no nerfs to Radon. It was possibly the greatest undertaking that I've done in my gaming career. I have strived to do a lot, but I have never beaten a boss such as Radon. It is possibly the hardest boss I've ever fought in my life and come on top of, and it does prove that perseverance is key in every single Souls game. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I was very hesitant going into the DLC. I've heard a lot of negative reviews, ranging from the bosses are way too aggressive, to you do no damage, to the boss is dealing way too damage to you, and I was very confused. I didn't know what to think, and because of that I never really engaged with the DLC. That was up until a week ago. I streamed Elden Ring and I went into the DLC. It was one of the most magical experiences of my life. This DLC is possibly in the top 3 of my favorite DLCs of any game, possibly the best I've ever played. I enjoyed almost every single aspect of it, from the exploration, to the combat, to the story, and to the glorious return of Radon. It portrayed Elden Ring in a bit of a different way, and the challenge was well worth my time. This video is here to commemorate the true beauty of Fromsoft's flawed masterpiece Elden Ring and Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. I beat Radon, as I said, with no summons, no status effects. I ran the build and look that you see in the video right now. It was pre-recorded for footage for B-roll, but that is the fit I rolled. That is the build that I rolled. And it was fantastic. I was level 15 Erdtree, and it was tough. It was very tough. It was definitely the hardest boss I've ever fought in any video game. And it took me about 70 to 80 attempts. I'm not really sure, I didn't count too much, but I know it took me less than 100. It took me about a day and a half of pure gameplay and learning. It was very fun, and I was very happy to see him brought back. Obviously, I've been spoiled way before playing the DLC on who the boss is and who and what happens, but it was very rewarding. I was a very big fanboy of Radon, and to be able to fight him again in his prime with the help of the femboy was truly a spectacle. The cutscenes in the DLC are possibly the best Fromsoft has ever had. I loved every single cutscene in this game. The story, I was a really big fan of, even though I am not, when I play these games, I'm not really too engaged with the story. I have read some item descriptions, and the cutscenes really fleshed it out for me in a way that I enjoyed. Back in the day when this version was active, was the DLC too difficult? I don't think it was. I think this was the perfect step up in difficulty in Elden Ring, and I am glad that this is going to be the final DLC to Elden Ring. That way we can close up the chapter and move on to better, bigger projects. I just want to take a moment to compliment at how beautiful this game is. The artistic depiction of each region in this game is absolutely magnificent. Each view feels like it's a part of a movie, like you're going through a big journey. The colors in each region are beautiful, well picked, and it makes every region unique to itself. That is the thing I really enjoyed. A lot of people complain that the exploring in this game was very tedious or long, the areas are way too open, and you do not get good rewards. While I do kind of agree on the reward part, I don't think it was necessary. The only necessary upgrades that you need are Erdtree fragments and runes. That is basically all you need. If you have chosen a build you like, you don't necessarily need anything else. And if you do want to respec, there are a bunch of weapons that you can find across the world, and there are a bunch of armor sets also. So I do think that they have done a good job on that part, but I do understand if it's not everyone's cup of tea. Some people may say that it's way too big. I personally don't agree. I think the regions by themselves are very beautiful, and each path has its own purpose, which was the same in Elden Ring. It is a bit more open, and I actually do appreciate that, because it's a bit of a different take, and it's a different shift in Elden Ring. In the normal Elden Ring, you're going to be going around, and everywhere there's going to be something, you know? Some enemies, some buildings, some items to pick up, but here it feels a bit more open, which makes this a unique area. It feels like it's kind of separating itself, which makes sense because we're in a completely different dimension from what I can understand. Is the game too difficult? I don't think it is. Casuals invaded this game, and I'm pretty sure because of that, a lot of mixed reviews came in, or negative I guess, on the Steam because of that. They simply weren't prepared for the difficulty that was put into this game, and maybe they didn't get enough scatter levels, they kept getting one shot, they then proceeded to make a negative review. The game makes it very apparent that Erdtree fragments are very necessary in the DLC. It's the main way for you to level up as to not get one shot by everything. If you don't level them up, that is your choice, but you are setting yourself for a very big undertaking, for a very big challenge, and you cannot blame the game for that when they've given you ways, direct ways that don't impact your builds, that don't impact your playstyle. They simply just make you stronger. Who is my favorite boss? If you're wondering, gameplay-wise, my favorite boss is Mesmer. Mesmer's presentation, story connection, and everything else is just beautiful. One of the best fights Fromsoft has ever designed, in my opinion. Very beautiful cutscenes, amazing attacks, very fair in almost every way. I cannot think of anything that is unfair about his kit, and he's actually kind of easy as well. Once you get the hang of the rhythm, he is both fair and fun to dodge. I really love Mesmer, and I know it's not a hot take by any means. Almost everyone here that have fought Mesmer in this community loves Mesmer. So yeah, but my favorite boss overall is actually Bale. It's not Mesmer. Gameplay-wise, it's Mesmer, but overall it's Bale. I think the entire questline with Egon, the impact he has in the battle, yes, I did summon Egon. If you don't summon Egon, you're on something else, because it makes the fight so much fucking better. His voice lines, the impact of the song with his voice lines, the quest, his pure rage, Bale being fucking angry as well. It's just all a spectacle. It was absolutely phenomenal. Definitely one of my favorite fights out of any game ever, honestly. One of my favorite boss fights, and I highly recommend fighting Bale. I mean, who hasn't at this point? And now, on to the big bad, the boss that garnered the most controversy in this DLC by far, Radahn. Oh, Radahn. What do I think of this boss fight? I think it was fucking amazing. Everything about this fight I fucking loved. The presentation, the lead up, the build up of the cutscenes, the story connection, the pure shock factor you get, it's just all amazing. I loved his moveset. His moveset was very fair. It allowed you very short windows of attacks, but also kind of long. It's very weird. On some attacks you can attack once, on some you can attack 3 times depending on what weapon you're using. It's actually very interesting how they've made it, but it is very fair, a very fair moveset. I actually don't have any complaints at all for the most part about Elden Ring in general. I think most of the boss fights are very fair. There are a couple moves, obviously, that bosses have that are just not very fun to go against, either because of a broken hitbox, which I'm gonna get into a second, or because it's simply just a boring fight. It's just that one move. If it was like 3 frames longer on the wind-up, it would have been fine. It would have been a difficult move to dodge, but it would have been possible, you know? It's possible still. I have dodged it many a times fighting him, but the window is just way too short. I agree with that. I think they over-nerfed it in my opinion. I think they should have nerfed it by like 4 or 5 frames max, and then it would have been fine. But holy crap, that move, that one double slash move is... yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but the good thing about it is it doesn't lead into any like unnecessary half of your health or 70% of your health gone in a single hit. It's literally you get hit once, even in second phase, you get hit once and then you can immediately dodge and dodge the other one. So you can dodge the rest of the move fine, it's just you get hit once and it does feel cheap, which is why I'm glad they changed it. The rest of his moveset is very fun to go against. And going into second phase, let's talk about it. Second phase, did I like it? I fucking loved it. I adored it. It was amazing. It was beautiful, bro. The entire cutscene leading up to it was amazing. Most of his moveset, like 60 to 70%, was still there. But he did get some new attacks, which is kind of cool in my opinion. Now, did I enjoy the holy sub-DPS attack, or however you want to call it, additional attack? I think it was actually interesting. I did like it. It forced you to position in the most optimal way possible as to not get hit, and if you roll back, you're getting hit. I think that's very good, because it forces you to conquer your fear of Radahn, to conquer your fear of a boss, to conquer your instinct to backroll, to go back to safety. And by now, if you don't have that instinct out of your mind, well, this boss will beat your ass. It's a bit of a ruthless second phase, but I personally find it to be fine. I don't have any complaints about it. I do understand that back then, FPS issues were also a thing for me. However, it was only for the big nuke. Everything else was fine. But I do understand that some people cannot run it as well as me. My PC is actually very, very good. So, if that's the case, then very valid complaint. Very valid. I'm glad that they changed it. Very good. A very good change also was to make the attacks a bit more visible because of the holy attacks just blinding you constantly. I personally didn't find it to be an issue. It was fine for me, but I would understand why people were against it or why people didn't like it. So, after this entire journey of 50 plus hours, I have 100%ed it almost. I'm just missing a few revered spirit ashes. What do I think of the game? What would I give the game? What rating? I would give it a 9. I think it does have some stinkers, which I'm going to get into a different video. It does have some bad boss fights. It does have some places that aren't necessarily too interactive or too interesting. So because of that, it's not a masterpiece, but it's definitely, the peak is definitely a masterpiece. Everything else, other than some of those areas, it was fucking magnificent. Fromsoft killed it, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Alright, closing this off, I loved Shadow of the Erdtree. Magnificent game, magnificent DLC, top 5 my favorite games of all time. But what is going to be the future of the channel? Now that I've finished Shadow of the Erdtree, I will no longer be able to edit almost anything. I have some leftover footage of me fighting the Golden Hippo, beating the Divine Beast Dancing Lion, but that footage is not really super interesting except me kind of raging my balls off at the hippo. So what is next on the channel? Well, I have good news for you guys. We're gonna be doing rankings, commentary videos, covering drama, playing a lot of different video games, and most of all, we're gonna be having fun. I'm gonna be trying my best to publish videos as often as possible while also trying to stream. You're gonna be seeing a lot of different content on my channel moving forward, so do look forward to it. If something isn't your cup of tea, it is what it is. but I still do appreciate you all for not really being on this journey with me, but for witnessing the end, I guess, to this journey. I'll be looking forward to finishing some other games like Sekiro, like Dark Souls 3 that I'm playing, while also starting new playthroughs like The Witcher 3. Look forward to that. Love you guys, I'll see you in the next video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you did enjoy the video, it helps out a lot. We'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.